bands like 28 Days, who I also work with, we'll share backlines sometimes. Like this weekend we're doing a show in Brisbane with 3 other bands, and I'm pretty sure everyone's using all the same gear, apart from amplifier heads, guitar pedals, drum pedals, and snare and cymbals. So just easier that way. And then in that scenario we do all share the same mics, apart from vocal mics. I switch out the vocal mics so people don't get sick.
It's a Gold Coast.
In the worlds before Monkey, primal chaos reigned.
G'day viewers, this podcast was brought to you by Koala Karma, the chill out drink. Let me tell you something, Karma Koala, I know I just gloss over the advertising for this show sometimes, because I'm a bit stumped for words, but this is a genuine new drink you need to try. Hey, I'm sitting in my car in the Currumbin Valley, by the way, doing this on my iPhone yet again. But yeah, you need to find Koala Karma. It's in Woolworths Metro stores, okay, all over the Gold Coast and Australia. It's a huge scoop for the girls from the coast, and I call it the opposite of an energy drink. It's a relaxation drink. It doesn't put you to sleep, but it genuinely calms you down. And off record, if you add a little vodka, it makes you chatty. It makes you calm, it makes you chatty, and it's a good thing, trust me. Now, on today's podcast, I finally get the chance to interview a guy I've known for 20 years or more, I don't know. I first met him at 8 a.m, I think, at, what's that place called? What's that place called? That studio in St. Peter's in Sydney. This is the problem with me right now. Zoo? Songs? No. You idiot, Drew. You idiot. Anyway, I've known John Chipchase for a long time. Chippy is his name. I guess he's a sound engineer, a mixer. I know he's a live sound mixer. He's done recorded a lot of bands. He just told me he doesn't do it anymore. But everyone wants him to mix their live show. He's a good, reliable dude who doesn't drive a car. And we'll get to that later. But you know what? I'm going to be honest right here. Every time I see Chippy, it's at a gig. Like he mixes at the Koala Hotel and he's at a gig and you know, we're just sort of bullshitting to each other. Yes. Hey man, how are you going? And I always get along with him, but I never get to know the real guy. We drove to see the Cult and he was in the passenger seat here. And at the end of the night, I really got to know the man and the sweetheart he really is. And I mean that genuinely. He played me some great music by Amy Shark. He's been mixing Amy Shark for 10 years. And I just finally got to see the real guy, and I could even relax around him, and it was a real great time, and I hope I do it again. But you're going to hear us on the drive up. I say the drive to the gig where I've just picked up Chippy and you know, so it's a good conversation, but I genuinely wish we recorded it back home on the drive home. And I know it's not going to be the only one we do. We're going to do another one in the future. He's on tour right now with Dark Cell, another great Gold Coast band. But he mixed. No, just shut up, Drew. Here we go. Are you there, John Chipchase? Yeah, tonight.
Bass player, she used to go with Craig from the Vines.
Oh, shit.
The song Cara Jane is actually written about KJ.
Wow.
So
John Chipchase, welcome to the Gold Coast First Screw Cup podcast show. How are you, champ?
I'm not doing interviews now.
Here we are. Come on, mate.
No.
Come on. I've forced you into it. Oh, hey, fuck you. I'm giving you a ride to the fucking gig. How are you, man?
Good, man.
Yep. You with me, dude, for more than an hour. We're going to the Cult. Our boy, Grant Fitzpatrick's bass player at the Cult. He was on the last episode, actually. He's bass player. He's come back home to Brisbane. And what are you doing tonight?
Mixing the support band The Art from Sydney.
Yeah, from Sydney. And who's is it Jordan that's got Frankie's Pizza by the Slice there?
Jordan is one of the guys that's involved with Frankie's. Yeah, he's one of the brewers. And he's also I think he's the guy that pretty much buys all the boutique beer that's sold in there. So sources it and gets it all in for the kids to drink and try. And yeah, so he also books the shows there as well. So
excellent. What a good gig. Yeah. Like big supports, like for big old school rockers, don't come along every day.
No, not these days. Not for bands like these guys, like The Art. So no, it should be fun. They have supported a few bigger bands in the past, so like Marilyn Manson and Dandy Warhols, I think, and who else? Steel Panther. Okay. So yeah, they go alright.
You were just telling me before I turned this thing on that The Art was something, and they had a different name, and you toured with them in the States.
They were originally called The Follow back in the day, and we actually toured the States as The Art. So went over and did South by Southwest and a few shows over there with a band called People Noise, who were really cool, sort of a shoegazy sort of band. Who the singer had something to do with that band VHS or Beta. Zeke, his name is. So yeah, no, that was pretty cool. So played a few gigs over there in a van, travelling all over the countryside. It was fun.
You done many... So I know you from a million years ago, man. Working with the Poor in Sydney is the first time I think I met you. And then... and the last few years you've been at the Koala Hotel.
Yeah, I've been up in Queensland for probably 16 years. So came up to do 6 weeks working with Gav from the Poor at the Trocadero, and the gentleman that I was covering had a accident whilst he was on holidays, and I never went home. Stayed up here.
Where is home?
At the moment, Burleigh Waters.
Yeah, and before then, where are you from?
Redfern, Botany, Maroubra, South Sydney.
Do you miss it?
I don't miss Sydney as such. I miss my friends, and I miss being able to get a Turkish pizza at 3 in the morning. Yeah. That's about it. So,
what about pastizzis?
Pastizzis at Newtown? Yeah, they're pretty cool too. So, no, that's the only thing I miss, but hey, it's only an hour's flight home, so...
Yeah.
But pretty much nobody really lives there anymore. Like,
right.
Girls from Nitocris don't live there.
Yeah.
You know, some of them are up here, some of them are down south, and
weird,
the guys from the Poor are all up here. So, you know, like... Yep. And Ben, who you know, who used to tech for Nitocris and all that sort of stuff, he doesn't live in Sydney anymore, so, like, there's not really... You know, I still go there. I'm going there in 2 weeks with Dark Cell. Actually, no, next week with Dark Cell. So, yeah, we're playing the Bald-Faced Stag.
Oh, yeah?
Leichhardt.
Yeah, that's a really old pub, like 1830 or something is on the...
Yep.
I used to spin out when I'd go down there, man, because I'm a Brisbane boy, and then I'd see these old pubs. To me, it was like old England. You know, the oldest stuff we had in Brisbane is like nothing compared to Sydney. And I remember seeing the Bald-Faced Stag, because we lived out at Ashfield, and I'm pretty sure it's like 1835. Or that might not even be true, but...
Yeah, it's something similar like that. Because you had the comedy store on the corner of Crystal Street there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was one of the old pubs as well, so that's around the same era.
I actually saw a classic robbery at like 6 a.m. opposite the Bald-Faced Stag. There was like a Nike shop. So picture the mid-90s.
Yeah.
Like 1997 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And it was like I saw a Subaru WRX pull up at the lights opposite there. And these dudes just smashed the door. And they were all wearing like Adidas striped pants, you know, like sort of homie sort of dudes from out west.
Yeah.
And they just they just dived in and grabbed all the shoes, and we were all stuck at the lights going, is this really happening? You know? And like, there it was. And all they cared about was like stealing like
Shoes.
tracksuits and stuff.
Yeah, tracky days.
Stupid, mate.
With those stupid fluoro stripes along the back.
Yeah.
Wow.
We actually had a robbery at Ashfield when we lived there, and I just bought my Guild, 65 Guild off Mark Evans from AC/DC,
yep.
you know, from when he worked at Jackson's there, or he still is, whatever. So it was my prized guitar, this black Guild, and everything was set up in our house. There was 5 musos in a house, and everyone had their, like Grant was in one room, Chris Cleves in the other room, and all our guitars, like there's Fenders, SGs, everything was on stands, like presented right there in Marshall stacks. One day we came home and the back door didn't even have hinges. It was just like someone pushed it over, and they raided the whole place and only took our drummers like Nike shoes. Shit like that.
Well, left 45 grand's worth of guitars.
Yeah, serious. We couldn't believe it. We're like, yeah, we love homies. Yeah. Do people say homies anymore? No.
No, I don't think so.
Where's
Ashfield. Wow.
Yeah. Man, I've been there for a long time. Where's the good gigs down there now, I wonder?
Ballface Stag goes alright. Frankie's does like a rock sort of metal night on Sundays. Where else is good? I think there's a few opening up in Newtown, like the Newtown Social Club and stuff like that, which is, I think, the old Sandringham.
Okay.
So that's good. You got the Factory Theatre and the Factory Floor, which is owned by the guys from the Enmore, and that's down in Marrickville. There's still a few kicking around. There's a few out west still, I hear. So,
yep.
But not like it used to be. Not like, you know, like in Newtown where you had Feedback and Top Gun.
Yeah.
All those gigs at Town Hall. Used to put shows on the Oxford.
Yep.
You know, the Sando, and even to the lesser extent the Town and Country.
Yeah. And even that was like the remnants of the time before.
Yeah.
Like the remnants of the big rock and roll era.
Yeah, like the Phoenician Club and Salinas and Lansdowne Hotel and the Annandale, where I used to work. Even the Zetland and the Green Square.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's none of those exist anymore. So,
it's crazy,
it's
mate.
a shame. So, yeah.
What's a bit, so the art, they must do well. You know, I'm going to be honest, man. I turned off the radio and the TV a couple of years ago. It changed my life for the better.
Yep.
You know, avoided news, actually. That was the big, I couldn't listen to any bad news anymore. Mm-hmm. But the downside is now I know nothing about anything. And so I had Ryan Murr on this podcast, and he's from Former Angels.
Yep.
Great rock and roll band. And he, a couple of weeks ago, sent me a message saying, hey, and he was talking about Frankie's Pizza by the Slice in Sydney, how they do gigs there and stuff. And he said, you got to talk to Jordan when he comes up because they're supporting the cult. And I went, oh, great. Yep. Cool. And nice little hookup. You'll probably see him this afternoon. And so then I said something to someone else the other day, The Art, and they go, The Art? Yeah, man, I hear them all the time. They're on the radio, right? I've got no idea.
Yeah, Triple J play them. Triple M have been playing them a lot lately, actually.
That's sad.
When we were in the States together, we actually recorded a song with Frenchie Smith, who was in a band called Young Heart Attack, and he's famous for doing the last Jet album.
Wow.
We were actually staying in his apartment whilst he was in Melbourne for putting the finishing touches on the Jet album, and we scooted off to New York, and he caught up with us there, and we ended up going to LA and recording a track there for not the album that's just been released, but the last album that came out. It was called, I think the single we tracked there was called Goodbye. Yeah. And it was in a really cool old studio down in the back of LA. So it was funny, actually. We did it the night before. We tracked all night, and then I flew out the next morning. Okay. And I think they were lucky enough to go and watch Blondie and hang out with her.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So
tell us let's nerd out on some of your industry stuff. Like what, you know, you're old enough. I don't know how old you are, but I'm old enough to remember recording live to tape, and even cutting the tape, and it was all. I remember when digital came along, and even the engineers going, this digital stuff, man. Look at that computer over there. We don't even use it, and now it's just there, right? So what? Obviously, it's easy for you guys, but it's also not as earthy.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I mean, I remember sitting there watching Greg Clark cut tape, you know, doing the pour and Billy Thorpe and stuff like that, and he'd sit there and do edits for, like, you know, some nights, for a whole night some nights.